course, being treated as equal. So the fact that we really go the extra mile to make sure that their funds are safe and how they're being processed transparently through the cheaper and the best and the faster way, it makes a huge difference for them. We recently connected, for example, as an example, up until really recently, it was really hard to make a transaction from Bank A to Bank B in the Philippines, and that was a very well-known problem. So we've been heavily pushing for any sort of interoperability scheme. So when NRPS was launched a few years ago, and recently a lot more heavily with the participation of all the banks, we've seen the difference it makes to the lives of our customers, both because it really connects all the different players from any part of the Philippines to send to another bank without having to physically deposit money, which brings also different regulatory problems, but also it makes it so much easier for businesses to go on their daily business, for payroll to exist. And I think Jay was really right, because what you need to look at the Philippines is not the card rate, the credit card penetration, because that's the real value, so that's around 4%. Right now, what we're trying to get by 2020, which is next year, is having 20% of all payments being digital. We started from 1 to 2% a couple of years ago, so we have a long way to go. So Coins is participating along with every other banking institution or non-banking institution to that end.
Great, thank you so much. One of the things that we had kicked off the discussion with was a very interesting overview of what's being done in Indonesia to really bridge the gaps in terms of the wide geographical spread and other challenges. The regulatory environment is, of course, vital to setting the framework for a lot of these companies and their ultimate success and for financial inclusion. So I'd like to turn back to Pa Santoso to give us a little bit more in terms of the key initiatives that OJK has undertaken to facilitate the type of dynamic environment that we're seeing in Jakarta and the rest of Indonesia, and then maybe some future initiatives as well that will help propel even further.
Yeah. First, the OJK is authority who in charge to provide the benefit for the people by using the financial sector. Yeah, and that is financial sector we're ranging for capital market, banking, and non-banking and other services of the financial sector. That is, and then actually we, based on the statistical record, only 40% people in Indonesia have a bank account because of constraint on the access. How come that we have to physical presence to the whole region and the rural area will be too costly and then too complicated. Yeah. But with technology, now we let the bank use loyal customer being agent in the area. And then the agent, they can use agent as a hub, similar to branch, but on listed product, as like retail, consumer, or saving. That's it. Then actually, and other product for retail. Then by doing that way, then the incremental, increase of the customer is huge. Even the government use this platform to distribute the benefit, social benefit, education benefit, whatever the benefit by the government, using this platform. Then it is powerful. Yeah. Then also using school, as I mentioned before, yeah, to access to the rural area. Hopefully that will be a tool to speed up the process of business in the rural area, and also the people normally keep their money in the pocket, but now they can put their money in the bank. That's very powerful. Then, of course, we have a note on this, but anything product provided by anyone must comply with customer protection principle. That is by law under the OJK. Yeah. So then we ask them to establish association. Register to us, then establish association, and then we ask the association to establish ethical code for the member. Yeah. Anything violation to the ethical code, report to us, and then we revoke the license. or revoke the, anyway, the business. Then actually that is the avenue to protect the customer interest. Then, but of course, the distortion is still there. People can, for the P2P, people can play 20 kind of loan in one night. That's actually is not acceptable. And then actually the ethical code is not only for the provider, but also for the people actually. Then again, a lot of, negative media, that look at this, how to make sure that we can supervise. Look, actually we use market conduct to supervise this. Not prudential supervision, no, market conduct supervision. So then by that way, I believe that all the program, government program, really to employ more people, reduce the poverty, will be achieved, using technology. Then not only about the access in the rural area. No, in the normal business in the city, they use platform technology, even the lending. Yeah, not only in the small business, but the medium business. The issue is how arbitrage between incumbent, the banking or the other financial sector with non-banking or non-financial sector. That is the way. But of course, the speed how to reduce the cap, the arbitrage. Yeah. Then probably will come up with, we call it the online conglomeration. Because one company, they can have a financial product, they can have anything, transportation product or payment product, wallet product, whatever product, they can do it. Then sometimes, the company is even not financial institution company. How to deal with this, yeah. Then how about the cyber security and so on, customer, individual data protection and so on. So that is the homework that we have to sort it out. Not only Indonesia, even I just coming from Basel discussing this. And then Basel Committee on Banking Supervision has been an agenda to discuss this globally about the cyber security, how the standard, anti-money laundering. You have to come up with some of the methodology, how to make sure that all those online products, comply with the anti-money laundering. I think sooner or later we'll come up with the standard on this. So just be ready. Actually, we can discuss. I think I appreciate this platform. Could be useful for the policymaker and also the practitioner and also the customer. Hopefully, it was useful. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Rajiv, do you want to give a few comments about some of the regulatory issues that you're seeing that would help further facilitate your business and those that have been implemented successfully that are allowing you to do your business?
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks. So as a company, and maybe just to build from where you left off, I think, so as a company that's been operating in Indonesia for as long as we've been around, some of the innovations in Indonesia from a regulatory standpoint, from a financial inclusion standpoint, have already given results. So the agent banking model that you mentioned, that BRI uses to such a great effect, I don't think I know of any other bank that uses it so well by having really village-based banking model, extremely low NPL rates, very trust-based system. Similarly, some of the, and this has been quite a great innovation also adopted around having sandboxes, by having private companies brought in to experiment a little bit to figure out together what the right regulatory oversight mechanism should be. Because I think the reality is that so my wife is originally from Shanghai, and I have this story that we were there for Chinese New Year, and there's a 4-year-old girl who came to play with my wife, and they were playing shopkeeper. And the way you play shopkeeper is that my wife pretends to buy something, and the shopkeeper pretends to give something. And you play that over and over again. It's very interesting for a 4-year-old. So my wife is pretending to buy a bottle of milk, and this 4-year-old is handing over a bottle of milk. And then my wife does what the whole world has always seen as a settlement transaction. She pretends to reach for her wallet and hands over something to the little 4-year-old girl. And this 4-year-old is aghast. She's like, what are you doing? Like, what is this supposed to mean? This girl has never seen cash being used for a settlement in her whole life. This girl has never seen card being used for settlement in her whole life. She's 4 years old in China. And I think the reality is that in Indonesia, or large parts of Southeast Asia, that will be the reality. In 5 to 7 years, it'll be a much shorter route to there, but that will be the reality. But that's not will be about payment. That will be about how I think about doing X, and then that would be a new way of doing it, something that we can't imagine today. And I think what the regulators are doing, and in particular in Indonesia, is that recognizing that the world is changing, and recognizing that we're all on the same side, really, and everybody's on side and trying to work this out. I think anti-money laundering, customer data protection, privacy, making sure suitability testing for lending products is done. These are all critical topics and have to be done right, but they have to be done right together.
Thank you so much. Just turning to the impact on the traditional bank financing market, how are you seeing your businesses collaborate and compete? Are you seeing differences now in the traditional financial sector and how they are approaching some of your customers? Maria, do you want to respond to that one?
Sure. So I think our case probably is different as our business has been growing at a different pace. So initially we were presented to a bank, a model of a startup involved in blockchain. Most of them just couldn't comprehend what that entailed. And it takes a lot of time to gain trust. I had to personally deliver compliance trainings and blockchain 101, just right to compliance teams in banks who try to explain what it is for them to get comfortable. Even for us as a business to be able to open a bank account. What we've seen this today is a little bit different everything's about trust and confidence, and regardless of how many different initiatives are taken to break apart the silos, it will never change. It's part of the human nature. So we shouldn't underestimate it. However, what we've seen is that there's a lot of institutions who are extremely keen to collaborate because they understand that they shouldn't create anything that someone else has created. You should just leverage and work together. And at the same time, you need that their innovation, their growth, and their future relies on working also with new business models and learning from that. There's a lot of institutions in the Philippines that they've embraced that, and actually they've innovated and they've created their own innovation teams, but and coming up with good concepts. We've seen others who are less open to that, but it always just takes extending a hand of cooperation and saying, these are the places we can work together. As a startup, we don't have infinite resources, but we have a good technology background, so we can always contribute to that side. And financial services these days, it's heavily dependent on technology and security. So these are the two areas where tech-focused and oriented companies can complement the existing banking services and offering of financial institutions.
Great, thank you. Ed, what's the experience in Korea?
In Korea, and then as well as at Kakao Pay, the financial platform service providers such as Kakao Pay has a vision to build a platform that bring together financial innovations internally as well as externally. Meaning, internally, Kakao Pay has a capability or strength to build its own innovation and then bring better value to consumers. But then what we realized early in our days is that we cannot do this alone. I mean, if Kakao Pay was solely focusing on one vertical, such as maybe payments, money transfer, investment, insurance, and so on, then maybe we would try our best to stand by ourselves and then defeat all the competition. But what we realized when we tried to work with banks to enable the mobile P2P money transfer and so on, there are definitely strengths that the existing players, existing institutions do carry, and then something that we cannot replace. So that's the lesson we learned, and then since then, we try to work with all the players in the field, whether it's a newcomer or existing institutions and whatnot. And then we try to figure out what works best for each player in this ecosystem. At Kakao Pay, we have about 30 million user base. Out of 50 million population, If you exclude like underage and then the old, really old generation, you can assume that Kakao Pay does cover the entire population who would have income and then has a single bit of interest in financial activities. So that's the strength that Kakao Pay has. So what we do offer to existing institutions is that being a platform, we can bring new users to their services. So we can lower the new user acquisition cost for the existing institutions and then players. And then for our consumers, by collecting all the possible financial products, they have a single place where they can compare, review, and then decide what works best for them. So in this new world where this financial innovation is coming from all over the place and then each player does have their own strength, what we are trying to do is bring everyone together and then make a marketplace or platform where individual strengths can be highlighted. So that's where we focus right now. And then just one special event or the initiative that's going on in Korea right now is something called open banking. So prior to that, as an individual, if I had to check the balance or move money from bank A to bank B, I actually had to log into 3 different bank accounts in order to review how much balance that I have in each bank. So that has been a huge barrier for Korean consumers. So what government initiated lately is for consumers, they have control over data that they possess, right? Even though they are distributed across multiple institutions, he or she should be able to control what kind of information they want to share with other institutions. So with this open banking initiative, consumers don't have to go to 3 different banks anymore. We do one bank, and then once you give permission to that bank has capability to pull the information from other banks and then initiate the money transactions from bank B to bank C, even though you are bank A. So this kind of initiatives are bringing more power and they empowers consumers to have better control over their financial information. And then financial platform service providers such as Kakao Pay has a middle ground, be able to orchestrate those information on behalf of consumers so that they have better understanding and thus they can make better and wise decisions going forward.
Great, thank you so much. I see that we have a lot of questions coming in, and I think that we can turn to our audience now and address some of these. The top 2 look like they're both surrounding security issues, which is of course a key factor when we're talking about a lot of these business models. So I think it'd be interesting to hear Indonesia in terms of how you are protecting consumers, and especially those that are vulnerable groups in terms of the regulations, and then we can turn to some of the our private sector participants.
Yeah, actually the customer protection is our mandate. So one, actually, as I mentioned before, we optimize the presence of SRO. The role of the SRO really to enforce the market conduct. Then we ask the SRO to set up the ethical code. Ethical code actually looks, you have to show yourself who you are. Then of course we check in our database if they are actually have a bad track record. We are not going to let somebody to involve in the business. Yeah. The second, so that way we mandatory to register to us. Not registering to us, we close the platform. Then the second is to make sure they promise to us the business is going concern business. It's not going to one short deal. And then we have a criteria how to test it. Yeah. About his background of the business and then how wealthy the people. And then also actually they have initially what is your plan going forward, and then we ask them to deposit some money in the bank account, and then we in the escrow account, and then we monitor just in case there will be some problem, and then they can use the money. They have to sign agreement on this. The third, they have to promise to us not cheating. Transparency and governance. Must be not allowed to be, violate the rule or ethical code. Yeah. The last one, they have to be really follow all of the principal rule. There will, and even anti-money laundering. But even though we will try to set up the specific standard for the anti-money laundering for that kind of the online product, whatever it is payment, wallet, or probably. But for that's the crypto, because the law is very clear. Banking in Indonesia for banking is not allowed to deal with the commodity. So actually, and then the only currency is eligible to be used in Indonesia as local currency, Indonesian rupiah. So all the financial sector is not allowed to deal with this kind of the product. But of course, if somebody getting benefit using this just for their own purposes without violating the law and regulation. So that why sorry about the crypto is very clear. But the central bank now, they're dealing with this topic over the world. They start initiating initiative to use the central bank digital currency on this. But I think, if it will be acceptable for everybody, then will be a shortcut on the intermediation. I believe no intermediation anymore. No payment anymore. Payment provider will be collapsed because we have to P2P payment, using the platform. Then actually the intermediation will be collapsed. So that is the consequences of the system. Everybody discussing this, how to deal with this. But since it is still, for individual purposes, that is not quite substantial, used by majority of the people. I think that will be, I think probably it's okay. But that will be replaced. All the transaction will be this. So that's my view about how to protect the customer and how about the. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Maria, do you want to comment to the second question in terms of protecting customers' identities and spending patterns from targeted advertising? I think that our audience would be curious to hear about what Coins is doing in that area.
So that's one of the most important questions in terms of how do you handle data, because it's not our data, it's the customer's data. We are simply custodians and protectors of it. So what is the important part? What we look at for is creating a governance structure, and then obviously a human resources structure around it that can protect and be the safekeepers and gatekeepers of the data. So Philippines has obviously implemented the Data Privacy Act recently, so there's a lot of obligations that derive from that, including a DPO, so the responsibilities that derive from the act are quite heavy, and obviously we need to abide by that. But actually, for the responsibilities of firms is one thing that's written down the law and we just have to follow it. For me, the biggest difference is actually coming from the consumers themselves, because there's a shift in the mindset. People are understanding a lot more now that the data that they're giving away has a lot of power, and they own it, they can control it. I think in the last couple of years, we were not receiving as many questions as to how do you use my data as now. People start registering the fact that actually, yes, you collect my data as part of AML requirements. How do you handle it? What happens afterwards in terms of your marketing activities? And this is where transparency and obviously collecting like a valid consent and making sure that these are honored and auditing all those procedures is really important.
No, thank you. Yeah, please.
So just to build on that, so I think if I read the question, I feel there might be an inherent bias that technology companies that own customer data may not be thinking enough about protectioning it. I think there's the other side, which I think what Maria you've covered and Pak Fimbo you've just covered. I think that's fundamentally, but I think there's the other side to this as well, which is what value do you add to that customer because you have access to that data? I'll give you an example. So we now run SME lending program in Southeast Asia. We're able to access financing to small and medium enterprises. If you are a 6-month-old business in Southeast Asia, and let's say you're a restaurant, and a big holiday season is around the corner, you today cannot get financing from a bank. It's a foregone conclusion. You will not get it. Unless you put up your house for remortgage, you will not get financing. If you are part of the Grab food delivery program, and we know a holiday season is coming, and we know that before a holiday season, you as a restaurant would stock up on fish or stock up on supplies because you need to service your customers, and it's a temporary liquidity issue, and that you'll be able to settle it within a 6 weeks' time. At a very low interest rate, Grab extends you credit. And that is about, and you know, banks have been sitting on reams and reams and reams of data for years now. And I think they've done a great job at protecting it. And I think, you know, fintech firms have to meet that barrier, but they have to go way above and beyond as to how am I adding value? What am I doing for that SME business to give him, to solve for 3 things? Am I solving for access? Do I get it when I need it? Am I solving for transparency? Am I completely clear about conditions? Am I solving for control? So am